Okay, so you've just set up your website, chosen a template, all of that. This page is your dashboard. For the most part, we're not going to use this page, but I do want to show you one thing first. On the left, there's an option called Apps. If you click on that option, you will see any apps that were installed and came with your template. For example, you might have a blog, you might have a portfolio app like I have. If you have an app like this, you may want to get rid of it at some point so that you can delete the pages that are associated with it. This is how you would do that, by coming here, clicking the three dots, and then deleting that app. Sometimes the apps will also delete themselves when you delete the page, so we're going to try that first. If I go back to Setup or Home, you'll see this button in the top right that says Design Site. I'm going to want to click on this to get to your actual website editor. This is where you're going to do most of the work to edit and design your website. We can close out of this AI content thing, and then it'll show you kind of a tutorial intro on what all of these buttons are. We'll talk about those in a moment. As you can see, I have my website here. Right now, it looks exactly like the template, but that's okay. We're going to change things as we go. First, I'm going to go up here to Publish and click Publish. Because I haven't published it yet, it's asking me to choose the name that I want. So I'm going to choose something like Mr. Craig Design. And then I'm going to save and continue. It's going to save and then publish this website. You see the little blue bar. It's publishing. Now that it's published, I could click View Site here, or I can go away. I can go to Site up here and View Site. That will take me to my actual website. This is live. Anyone can see this version. Generally, while you're working, you want to keep this and your editor both open so you can make changes here, publish those changes, and then go look, refresh, and see how your website looks. Okay, we're going to go back to the editor now and look at a few of the controls you're going to need. On the left, you'll see there's a whole series of buttons. For the most part, you're only going to use the top 4 buttons. And we're going to start with this 4th one, which says Site Design. This is where you would change the theme. For example, if I wanted to choose a theme that was brighter with certain colors, I could do that. Or I could use the theme that it's currently set to and just change those colors myself. Now, what these colors control depends on your template that you chose. So for example, if I change this color to be a red, you'll see that all the text is clearly controlled by that color. Your template might be different, and what color controls what might be different for you. So it's important for you to experiment with these and figure out exactly what you want. This will change things all the way across your website on all pages. Now I'm going to go back and I'm going to go to this button here, which is Pages and Menu. You'll also see an option up here that says Pages at the top. At the top, I'll show you real quick, this lets you choose which page you're currently looking at. So I'm currently looking at the home page. This Pages and Menu option on the left lets you actually control your pages. So for me, I don't really want a portfolio or the About page or the Contact page. I'm going to make my own pages, and you probably will too. So I'm going to go in here to the 3 dots, and I'm going to delete that page. You'll see in this case, it's also asking if I want to delete the app that is associated with that page. And in this case, I don't want that portfolio app, so I will delete it. That should take a moment, and then I can go back to Pages and Menu. It's gone. I'm now going to delete these other ones. Delete, 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 delete. And now I am left with a home page. You'll notice the home page is hidden right now. I could make it visible if I wanted to, show in menu, and now you'll see the name popped up in the menu. But in this case, I don't think I want it to be visible in the menu because, as you'll see on the actual website, if I click on the name here, that will take me home. Now I have one page for the home page, which is great, but I I'm going to want pages for each of my projects as well. So I'm going to add a page. There's some design pages here, but we're really not going to be using these. We're going to be making these pages on our own by ourselves the way that we want them to look. So I'm going to add a blank page. You'll see it made a new page and it's asking me for a name. So I'm going to put in project 1 since I don't know what that first project's going to be. Okay, that page now exists and you'll see it's shown up in the menu. Now we're going to talk about actually editing the pages of our website. You'll see here there are 3 sections. There's a section at the top, which is called header. This is a unique section that will show up exactly like this on every page of your website at the top. I can control it here. I can make it bigger and smaller. I could add elements or remove them. We'll talk about that later. But for example, I don't want this social bar, so I could click on that and then delete it. Now it's gone. I could also change this text to say, Mr. Craig. Probably not with that. There we go. It's a little too tall. I'm going to make it shorter. Something like that. Okay, now we're going to skip this middle section and we're going to look at this bottom section. You'll see it's also a special section called the footer. The footer, just like the header, is going to be the same on every page of your website. If I click on Quick Edit here, I can see that I can change the text. So for example, I want to change it to say 2025 by Mr. Craig. And now I can close out of that. And you'll see it's changed. Anything that you want to be on only this one page of your website, you'll need to put in between the header and the footer. You'll see it started me off with a section that is blank. It's empty. There's nothing in it. I'm going to go ahead and remove this image from the background. We're going to go to Site Design. And then on this page, I can change the page background to, say, a blank or a black color. That way you can actually see what I'm doing. Okay? Wix in general uses 2 things to build their websites. They use this option here, sections and elements. Let's look at sections first. You'll see here there are some sections that are designed, but again, they're not quite what we want. So we're going to add a blank section. And now you'll see that there's this section with nothing in it, and this section with nothing in it. I could choose to make this section bigger or smaller as I need to make it fit whatever I put inside. Because it's empty, we need to add things to it. So we're going to go up here to add elements. Elements are items that are placed inside sections. You'll see there's like text, images, buttons, galleries, menus. You could add lots of different things. For the most part, we're only going to use text, image, button, and gallery, maybe. So let's start with text. And I want to add maybe a special title. Let's try a caps title. I'm going to drag that in. And then I think I want that to be in the top left corner here. It's a little small, so I think I'm going to make it bigger by clicking Edit Text. And here I can control all the usual things, just like in Google Docs. I can make it italic. I can make it bold, although bold doesn't seem to be very different with this font. I can make it align differently to that text box. I could make it in the middle, on the left. I'm going to leave it on the left. I am, however, going to make the font a bit bigger, something like that. Now I'm going to change the text. So if I double click, and I'm going to write project 1, since I don't know what the project will be yet. And I think I did like it as all caps. So I'm going to make that project 1. Okay, then in this section, we'll make this the title section. Maybe I also want to include an image. I don't have any images of my project yet, so I'm just going to choose one of these to kind of fill that space until I have my project made. Okay, now the section below is where we're going to start putting the information about this project. If you remember, in the design cycle, there are 4 steps. We want a section for each step. So in this section, I'm going to put a title or a text of some kind. Maybe a heading 2. Maybe a heading 3. That one's a little big. Themed text, heading 3. Yeah, that's a little better. And I think I'm going to want this to be left, just like before, and aligned with that text up there. So you'll see the purple line, there it is, now it's lined up. You'll notice that everything I'm doing is within these gray lines. Wix, as an app, as a website, will try to keep whatever is in between these gray lines visible at any time. If you put things outside the gray lines, they will show up now while the website is nice and big on my screen. But if it was smaller on my screen or on a phone, it might not show up. So we generally want to keep all of the important content within here. I'm going to change this heading to say the first part of the design cycle, which is inquire and actually it's inquiring and analyzing. Good. And then below that, I want a text that I can actually edit. So let's go to text and maybe take one of these paragraphs. And this is where I could put a real amount of content. Now, obviously, right now, I don't know what it would say, and I might choose to add images here as well. But for now, this is a good template for me to use for this project. Okay, I like that. So at this point, I could add a new section and do that again from scratch for the other 3 parts of the design cycle. Or I could select a section, go to the right here, there are some options. I could move it, for example. But what I want to do is go to these more actions, the 3 dots, and then I could duplicate this section. I could also copy it and put it on another page if I wanted. But I'm going to click duplicate because that will make a copy of it directly below. And then I can just change the text to say what I need it to say for the next section. The next step of the design cycle is developing ideas. This is sketches and things like that. So I'm going to put that there. I'm going to do this again. Duplicate for creating and duplicate again for evaluating. Now, I have my 4 sections. They're a little bit simple. I expect you guys to be more creative with your pages. All right, really design them, have fun with them, make them nice. The only requirements are that they have a name, they have some photos along the way, and they have all 4 of these sections to be filled in later. If you are in grade 6, you will need 7 project pages. If you are in grade 7 or grade 8, you will only need 6 project pages. I recommend that you do different designs for each project page so they're not the same, they're not boring and repetitive. You can have fun with them, make them really creative, and then when you have a project, you can choose which design you want to put that project into. At this point, I think you understand most of the basics of Wix. The last thing we're going to look at is going back to the home page and making a few edits there. So let's go to the page, home page. And you'll see, for example, that it still has her face here. It still says Charlie Knox. I could try to click in and edit this manually, or I can click this and you'll see it's a special section that says welcome. So I can just click quick edit and then change the title to say like Mr. Craig, and then change the text here to be design. Ooh, or maybe even D space. Yeah, let's add a little extra space of S-I-G. So you can have fun designing your web page the way you want, but your homepage should introduce you and your work in some way. I'm going to get rid of this background image because, well, that's not me. So once again, we're going to go to Site Design and change the background for this page. In this case, I would actually prefer to have a image that was representative of me, that was really dark, that I could replace this with. But because I don't have one right now, I'm going to set it to the color black so we can see what we're doing with this page. This top section looks good, but again, I would probably put an image in here. But let's add another section down here below and then look at creating, for example, maybe an About Me section. So I could choose this title I rather like. Let's put it in the center. And then I want to actually center the text. So edit text, alignment center. There we go. And then I can make this say About Me. And then below I could put maybe a picture that's representative of me and some text about me. Remember that any pictures you put online, once you hit publish, those pictures are public to the world. Anybody can see them. Anybody can find them. So if you're going to put a picture of yourself, make sure it is a picture that you are okay with being online. Now, you may also want a section, probably above this section, to show some of your projects. So in here, maybe I would put a basic title of some kind, like a small title. Oh, not there in this section. And this could say project 1, right? Project 1. And then I could have an image that links to that project, for example, or the text could too. I could make this a link that goes to the project 1 page. Great, now that's a link. And then maybe I want a copy of this. So I could right click, copy, paste, or duplicate, bring it down here, make the text right aligned. There we go. And make it say project 2. And then I could change this link. I could break the link or change it to be the project 2 page once I made that page. You probably want a section that showcases your work that lets people easily and quickly get to each project if they don't know which projects are what. Once you have made changes, you're going to want to hit save and publish. You want to publish your website. That will make it so that this version is actually updated. So if I refresh this now, it will look like the changes that we made. There we go. I can go to project 1 and I can see project 1. This is the link that you're going to submit to me. Okay, so that I can see your work throughout the year. This is also the one that is public. So this is the one that you need to check and make sure looks right, because this is what I'll be grading and other people will be seeing. With that said, I think that is everything you will need to work on your websites. You can go ahead now and work on your different projects, pages, any other pages that you want to include, like a hobby page or any personal pages, and your home page. And then if you have further questions, feel free to ask me about them. Thank you and good luck.